All right, standard 4, here we go. Questions from the original test. You can use these to review for your retakes. So, order of operations with negatives. I'm going to remind you of two things for order of operations. First of all, many of you are familiar with PEMDAS or GEMDAS. It's the same thing. I want to remind you, though, that if you're thinking about PEMDAS, remember that multiplication and division are actually the same step, as are addition and subtraction. So remember, those steps are done left to right. You don't necessarily do multiplication before division. What I'm also going to do when I do these is I'm going to circle the terms and simplify them that way to help remind you. So looking at number 17, remember we said that terms are separated by addition or subtraction. So if I wanted to circle my terms here, 5 ends at the addition, that's one term. 3 times 12, once I get to the subtraction, that's a new term, so I can circle that. And 8 times 2 is its own term. And the reason we do this is it just reminds us to simplify the terms first and then do addition and subtraction left to right. So coming down the line, 5 stays 5, excuse me. 3 times 12 is 36, and 8 times 2 is 16. Now we just go left to right. So 5 plus 36 is 41. Notice I write out the whole line below that. And finally, 41 minus 16 is 25. All right, moving on here to number 18. Again, I'm going to circle my terms. So negative 17 minus, that minus sign means it's a new term, so circle the first term. This is 4 times negative 2, so that's actually its own term. It's not 4 minus 2. The parentheses means multiplication. Now let's simplify those terms first. So negative 17 stays itself, minus 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Be careful here. The misconception people do a lot is they subtract first. This one is, I always trick students with this, not on purpose, but it's just to see if you understand it. So now you have negative 17 minus negative 8. Remember, we can think of this as adding the positive here. You can also think of this as just taking away 8 negatives from 17 negatives. That might be easier for you. But you could also think about it as negative 17 plus 8. You're going to cancel out 8 of the positives with 17 of the negatives, and you're going to get negative 9. Yes, it didn't seem right for a second, but it is. All right, the next one, 19. Notice there's no addition or subtraction here, so it's actually all one term. But this is where the PEMDAS method, or PEMDAS might help you a little bit. You got to do the part in the parentheses first. So the parentheses means any operations in the parentheses, you start from in there. So coming down a line, it's still 10 divided by 2. Negative 3 minus 5 would give me negative 8. And now we want to be careful because remember, division comes before multiplication if it goes left to right, right? They're the same step. So you're going to do 10 divided by 2 first. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 5 times negative 8 is negative 40. All right, last one here with some fractions. Looking at our terms, 1/2 is its own term. This over here is its own term because it's all multiplication. We're going to multiply first. You do not need a common denominator to multiply fractions. You just multiply across the top and across the bottom. 1/2 comes down, minus, I'm going to go ahead and put this part in parentheses here. It's a negative times a positive, so we know my answer is going to still be a negative. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 5 is 20. And now we have this. So to simplify this, again, now I need a common denominator because I'm adding or subtracting. I'm subtracting in this case. I'm going to make 1/2 into 20ths by multiplying by 10 over 10. That will give me 10 over 20 minus a negative 12 over 20. I ran out of space on my page, so I'm going to keep going right here. I'm going to change this to adding the opposite. So I'm going to think of this as 10 20ths plus the opposite of negative 12 20ths is just 12 20ths. When I add those together, I get 22 over 20. And I can simplify that by dividing those both by 2 and making it 11 over 10. Ooh, there you go. All right. There's your review for Standard 4.